Hello, 2024. This is going to be an amazing year. You have amazing opportunities, and it is 100% possible to have the success that you desire in this year. I am in the midst of rebranding my entire podcast, so just be prepared for maybe some shorter tidbits throughout the week instead of the longer 20-minute, 30-minute podcasts that I have been doing. They might be in there from time to time, but I really want to give value in bite-sized pieces for you. And I'm going to get my material from clients, questions that happen inside my Facebook group. Hell, if you have a question, please reach out to me. Definitely ask, because that's what this podcast is really designed for. So I'm going to take real life questions and begin to answer them for you. Now, before we get started on this episode, the first episode of 2024, I want you to know that I am recovering from COVID. So I might have some coughs here and there within this episode. But let's just dig in right now. So the first thing I want to address is how having a cancellation list can bite you in the ass. Okay. I have a client that actually hosts online events and she hosts in-person events. And she's gearing up for January, having this amazing event. It's incredibly special. And she has limited seats because it is an in-person event. Now, what happens when you sell out your event and you have a wait list that is based on somebody else canceling? Let's address this issue, because when we have those types of lists, we're leaving money on the table, for one, which is really valuable. But second, our chances of people following us into the next events are minimal when we drop the ball on them like that. And it's the proverbial drop the ball. Is that what I mean to say? But we think that that's a really good option for them. But when people want transformation, they want it right then and there. They don't want to wait for it. Have you ever decided that you wanted help losing weight, or you wanted to feel better and focus on your mental health, and you wanted to start right then? And then you're like looking for doctors and they say, well, I'm booked out for a few months. Do you go ahead and get on their wait list? But what else are you doing? You're finding somebody right then and there that's available that does something similar, and you're moving on because you don't want to wait for your transformation. This is true in events, right? Like if you're hosting a Reiki class, a yoga class, maybe you're doing Qigong, maybe you're doing a shamanic healing, right? Any of those in-person events, but it's also true online. But here's the reality we all know. When we're hosting online events, we rarely put caps on them. We allow as many people to come in because we can facilitate it virtually, which in our brain is different, but also on paper, it looks different. Financially, it looks very different. So let's talk about how we can bypass that challenge of the cancellation list and maybe look for opportunities in order to accommodate those people that are ready to move right now with us. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm going to be coughing here and there. Okay, so you always want to have backup. When you are planning an in-person event, you want to have options for when this might become the issue. Now, like my client, she has a number of people on her waiting list. And I was like, how can you accommodate them now? Don't leave money on the table. We want to make sure that they have options where they can move forward immediately and don't have to wait for your next event or your next class or anything like that. So one way is to prepare for it before we even have that issue. So if we know that we're going to be at a facility that has a limited space and we have limited props or anything like that, we want to have the option to upgrade without increasing our expenses. Now, a lot of venues will allow you to expand your space. So talk to them before you're hosting this event. Say, if the capacity is this, what happens if if the capacity is 20, what happens if I have 25 people that want to join? How can we accommodate those without increasing my expenses or paying more for a space? Okay, people are going to be willing to work with you because it's not just the space that they're making money off of, it's bringing awareness to the space. So they're like, oh, I don't have that. We don't have that. We'll say, this would benefit you because the more people we get in this space, blah, 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 blah. They might have a juice bar. They might have a matcha bar there that people are going to be coming in and getting ready for their new adventure and transformation with you. So ask those questions up front. When it comes to props and materials and stuff, often I have had to supply my own. And there's a lot of people out there, especially post-pandemic, that don't mind bringing their own mats, bringing their own crystals, bringing their own essential oils, whatever it might have, to have that list for them. And if they want to partake in the bolsters or whatever they might need for it, if they don't have their own, if you're like me, I have all of that stuff myself because I do a home practice. I would not have a problem bringing it along with me. But if somebody does not have it, it could be an add-on. An upsell. If you do not have all of your own equipment, go ahead and for $10 more during this, we can supply. But make sure that you're making it the upsell fair market value, right? You don't want to shortchange yourself on that, but you also don't want to overcharge for them because these are material goods and they're going to use them. So what does that do for the day of or that cancellation list? That allows you to, if somebody comes in and wants to be on the wait list, you begin to expand and move into the bigger venue, but also you already have a count of who needs equipment and who doesn't. Now, if every single person in the sign up was like, I need, and you upsold and all the bolsters, all the oils, everything is sold out, then you have to become creative. But we're visionaries. We are visionaries. So we can think outside of the box. And this is what you're going to have to do. You can look to friends that might have some equipment. You might be able to rent them or go to another yoga studio or a Reiki practitioner and ask if it would be possible to loan. Can I loan these? Can I take them on loan for you? Or maybe you give them, money up front to rent them. And then when you return them, you get your refund. I really want you to think outside the box. Okay. Now let's say that you didn't pre-plan for any of this. You didn't expect to oversell. And now you're like in this mind and you have a cancellation list of people that want to wait. And you're like, oh my gosh, well, what can I do? What's possible now? I can't expand my space because I never talked to them or it's a small venue and I don't have that option. Excuse me. This is when you have to get really creative. You can give them options to join your very next class. Not one that's happening 2 weeks from now, not one that's happening, next week, but maybe the one that's happening tomorrow. You don't want them waiting, or maybe you're having a virtual course that is going to be launching in the next month, and they can join that one. But in the meantime, you have some free gifts to get them started or some homework for them to work on. You want to sell them something right now because it is much easier to strike when the iron is hot than when it is cooled off and they're already looking for somebody else. So what I really want you to think about is, how can I accommodate anyone who's ready to buy? If somebody is ready to bite, if they're ready to invest in themselves, if they're willing to put down money on their transformation, you want to take advantage of that now. And you're like, Lynn, but that's so pressuring, whatever. But this is about them. This is about their transformation. And while they are ready to say yes to themselves, you want to accommodate their need and their transformation. It's about them. This is one aspect of sales that a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand. When we turn people away, that turns them off. 99% of the time, the person's going to find another avenue. Or maybe they won't look at all and they'll just go cold. This is how people fall off resolutions. They go, well, that's a lot of work. I missed it. Oh, well. And then they fall back into old patterns and behaviors. We don't want that for them. We want to help them. We want to give them the transformation that they're looking for. And the sooner they have you on their side, the more likely they are going to have the success that they desire. Why? Because you're there for accountability and support along the way. If you push them off or put them on a wait list, they're risking giving up on themselves. And you don't want that. So get creative. Think outside the box. How can I accommodate their needs, even though they can't come this time? What can I do for them right now? What can I give them right now? What can I offer them right now? I have an online course. I can just package that up and give that to them, and we can get going right away. I can offer them a one-on-one class. You have the materials that you need to help them transform. 100%, you already have everything that you need to take care of them. But most struggling coaches and healers do not see the opportunities that they have because they don't have the foundational structures in place to allow them to see the big picture. This is one reason why I'm hosting an absolutely transformational intuitive sales training on January 16th. The link is in the show notes, and I want you to go get registered for it today. Because sales is one of the biggest challenges I see healers and hypnotists and coaches having. They don't understand it. They think that they think that content is sales. Content is a marketing strategy. It is designed to bring awareness to who you are, what you do, and the transformation that you deliver. Sales is what takes that awareness and monetizes it. So go out there and make some sales. Get registered for the upcoming training, and let's make 2024 the best year yet.